Have you ever sacrificed everything for someone who never asked for your help? There is a Japanese proverb that says, Neko ni Koban, waste gold coins for a cat. Think about it. If you give a gold coin to a cat, what will the cat do? Nothing. Because the cat doesn't understand its value. To it, it's just a shiny object with no use. You just wasted something precious on someone who can't appreciate it. Now imagine that this gold coin is you, your energy, your time, your life. And imagine that you are throwing all of this away to people who don't want to receive it, people who didn't ask for it, people who might even laugh at you for trying. Here's the painful truth. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't saving someone. It's letting that person face the consequences of their own actions. And sometimes, the person you most need to save isn't the one around you. It's yourself, but we don't learn this on our own, do we? We need to face setbacks. We need to destroy ourselves, trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. We need to waste years of our own lives before understanding a simple truth. You can't want another person's life more than they want it themselves. Today I'm going to tell you the story of a man who learned this the hard way. A man who almost drowned trying to save everyone around him, until the day he discovered that sometimes letting go of someone's hand is the only way to save yourself. His name is Payton, and this story might change the way you see your relationships. Before I continue, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment if you've ever been in a situation where you put in too much effort for someone who didn't appreciate it. Thank you very much for your attention, everyone. Now, going back to Payton's story. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Wanted to Save the World. Payton was 22 years old and believed he could save everyone. He wasn't naive, he just cared too much. You know that type of person who sees someone suffering and can't just walk by? That was him. It always was. Payton lived in a small town in the American Midwest. He worked at a local market, earning just enough to survive, but he dreamed big. He wanted to build something. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to change his life. The problem? Nobody around him wanted the same thing. He had been in a relationship with Ava for 5 years. They met in school when they were 17, that typical teenage love that turns adult without anyone noticing. She was beautiful, fun, popular. And Payton? Payton was the devoted boyfriend who would do anything for her. But Ava didn't share Payton's dreams. While he spent his nights reading business books and watching motivational speeches, she was out with her friends. While he saved every penny thinking about the future, she spent it all on clothes and parties thinking about the weekend. And Payton's friends, same thing. Every time he tried to talk about entrepreneurship, about studying, about building something, they laughed. They called him a goody two-shoes, a boring guy. The guy who thinks he's better than everyone else. Relax, Payton, we're young, man, stop being so serious. But Payton couldn't relax, because he could see it. He could see that if he continued down that path in 10 years, he would be in the same place. Same job, same life, same frustration. And the worst part? He felt guilty for wanting more, as if wanting to grow was a betrayal, as if dreaming big was arrogance. Because the truth is this: when you start to grow, the people around you will try to pull you back down, not out of malice, but because your growth exposes their stagnation, and that hurts. Chapter 2. The Compulsive Savior. Payton had developed a dangerous pattern. He tried to save everyone. When Ava said she was bored with life, Payton would buy her self-help books. She would leave them on the shelf unopened. When friends complained about not having money, Payton tried to convince them to study, take online courses, or start their own businesses. They would always change the subject. When he saw someone drinking excessively every week, Payton would suggest that the person stop, that they take care of their health. The person would laugh in his face. And every time this happened, Payton felt a mixture of frustration and guilt. Frustration because he couldn't help. Guilt because he felt he wasn't doing enough. If I try harder, maybe they'll understand. If I'm more patient, maybe they'll change. If I give more examples, maybe they'll wake up. But they wouldn't wake up, they never woke up. And do you know why? Because you can't want to change another person's life more than that person wants to change it themselves. Payton was throwing gold coins to cats and destroying himself in the process. One day, Ava said something that affected him. "Peyton, you care more about me than I care about myself, and that's suffocating." He was shocked. How could it be suffocating? He only wanted the best for her. He only wanted her to grow, to see her own potential. But there was the problem. Peyton was trying to force a transformation that Ava didn't want. He was trying to save someone who didn't ask to be saved. And the worst part? He was doing it at the cost of his own life. Because while he spent his energy trying to convince others to change, he himself wasn't changing. He was stuck. He was stagnant. He was sinking along with those he was trying to save. Chapter 3. The Lecture That Changed Everything. One Wednesday evening, Peyton saw an advertisement for a personal development lecture. The topic was how to build discipline and sustainable habits. He invited Ava. She said she had plans to go out with her friends. He invited his friends over. They said it was coach talk. Peyton went alone. The lecture was in a small auditorium, about 50 people. The speaker was a woman of about 45 with gray hair and a serene demeanor. She didn't seem like a motivational coach. She seemed more like a philosophy professor. Her name was Dr. Sarah Nakamura, Japanese-American, psychologist specializing in behavioral change. She began the lecture with a question. How many of you here have ever tried to help someone who didn't want to be helped? Half the room raised their hands. Peyton did too. And how many of you felt guilty when that person didn't change? The same half kept their hand raised. Dr. Sarah smiled. Are you familiar with the Japanese proverb Neko ni Koban? Silence. It means giving gold coins to a cat. It's the equivalent of our casting pearls before swine. The idea is simple. If you offer something valuable to someone who can't recognize its value, you've wasted your offer. She paused. She let it penetrate. But here's the detail that most people don't understand. The problem isn't the cat. The cat is just a cat. The problem is you, who insist on giving gold coins to someone who didn't ask for them, doesn't need them, and doesn't want them. Peyton felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. Dr. Sarah continued, We human beings have a deep need for belonging. We need to be accepted by the group, the tribe, the pack. This is ingrained in our DNA from the time of the caves. Being expelled from the group was a death sentence. And that's why most of you are here today. Because you want to grow, but you're afraid of being rejected. You're afraid that if you change, you'll lose the people you love. So you try to take everyone with you. You try to save everyone. And you destroy yourselves in the process. But let me tell you a hard truth. Sometimes you have to choose between growing up and belonging. Chapter 4. The Lesson of Ma and Motinai. Dr. Sarah explained two concepts that Peyton had never heard of before. The first is Ma. It's the Japanese concept of empty space, of interval, of pause. In Japanese culture, the silence between musical notes is as important as the notes themselves. The empty space in a painting is as important as the brushstrokes. When we apply Ma to relationships, we understand that knowing when to back off is just as important as knowing when to act. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for someone is nothing. It's giving them space. It's letting them deal with the consequences. Peyton thought of all the times he had insisted, pushed, forced. He had never given her space. He had never backed down. The second concept is Mottainai. It's about waste. But not waste of objects, waste of vital energy, of potential, of time. Every time you spend your energy trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved, you are practicing Mottainai. You are wasting your life. Dr. Sarah looked directly at Peyton. It was as if she knew. Imagine you have a bucket of water, and there are several people around you. Some are thirsty, others are not. Are you going to pour water into the mouths of those who don't want to drink? Are you going to waste all your water trying to force someone to hydrate? Either you give water to those who are thirsty and keep the rest for yourself. That broke something inside Peyton, because he had spent years pouring water down the throats of those who didn't want to drink, and he was dying of thirst. Chapter 5. The Hardest Decision. After the lecture, Peyton sat in the empty auditorium for almost an hour. He thought of Ava, of their 5-year relationship, of all the times he tried to inspire her, motivate her, help her grow, and of all the times she made it clear she didn't want that. He thought of his friends, of years of friendship, of all the conversations about dreams, about building something, about changing their lives, and of all the laughter, all the relax, Peyton, all the you think too highly of yourself. And for the first time, Peyton understood something. He wasn't being kind. He was being codependent. He wasn't helping. He was sabotaging himself. Because while he spent his energy trying to save those who didn't want to be saved, he wasn't building his own life. He was trapped in a vicious cycle where the need to be accepted was greater than the need to grow. And this had to end. That night, Peyton made the hardest decision of his life. He was going to stop throwing gold coins to cats. He was going to set boundaries. He was going to protect his energy. He was going to choose to grow, even if it meant growing alone. But he didn't know that this decision would cost him everything. Chapter 6: The Breakup. Peyton arranged to meet Ava at a cafe. He was nervous but determined. "Ava, we need to talk." She rolled her eyes. "Let me guess. You want me to read another self-help book?" "No. I want to end it." Silence. "What do you mean, end?" I spent 5 years trying to inspire you to grow with me, and you made it clear that you don't want that. And that's okay. You have the right to live your life the way you want. But I also have the right to live mine." Ava blushed. "So you're dumping me because I'm not good enough for you? Because I'm not obsessed with success like you? It's not about being good enough. It's about wanting different things, and about me finally understanding that I can't want more of your life than you want for yourself. You're arrogant, Peyton. You always have been." He took a deep breath. "Perhaps you're right, but I'd rather be called arrogant and grow than be called humble and remain stagnant." Ava got up and left. She didn't look back. Peyton felt his chest tighten. 5 years of history, 5 years of memories, and it ended in a 10-minute conversation, but he sensed something different. Relief. Chapter 7: The Loneliness of Growing Up. The following months were the most difficult of Peyton's life. He distanced himself from his friends. He didn't fight with anyone. He just stopped showing up. He stopped replying to messages about parties, about drinking, about enjoying life. At first, they would call, "Hey Peyton, how's it going? You've been gone for a while." He replied politely, "I'm fine, just focused on other things right now." "Dude, you've changed. You're too serious. Go back to being the old Peyton." But Peyton didn't want to go back to being who he was before. Because who he was before was trapped. He was stagnant. He was sabotaging himself to please people who didn't care. His friends stopped calling, and Peyton was left alone. He woke up early. He studied, he worked, he trained, he went home, he read, he slept, he repeated. There were no more weekend outings, no more late-night conversations. There was no one left. And that hurt. It hurt a lot. Because the human brain interprets loneliness as a threat, and it screams, "Go back to the group, you're going to die alone, you need to be accepted." But Peyton had learned something from Dr. Sarah's lecture. Sometimes you have to choose between growing up and belonging. And those who choose to grow up alone at first. So he endured it. He endured the loneliness. He endured the pitying glances from his family. He endured the malicious comments that reached him. Peyton is getting too big for his britches. He abandoned everyone. But he hadn't abandoned anyone. He had only stopped sinking while trying to save those who didn't want to be saved. And gradually something began to happen. Without the distractions, without the drama, without wasting energy trying to save everyone, Peyton began to grow. He took an online course in digital marketing, then another in sales, then another in business management. He started a small consulting business. In the beginning, it yielded almost nothing, but he persevered. Every day, a small step. He trained 4 days a week. He lost 15 kilos. He gained muscle. He gained energy. He read 2 books a month: philosophy, psychology, business biographies. His mind expanded in a way he never imagined. And most importantly, he stopped feeling guilty. Because the guilt he felt before wasn't because he was wrong. It was because he was right. And the people around him didn't like that. 2 years after his breakup with Ava, Peyton had built a business that generated 6 figures a year. He had moved to a bigger city. He had met new people, people who were growing, studying, building. He had become who he always wanted to be, not because he tried to change everyone, but because he stopped destroying himself trying to help. Chapter 8. The Reunion. 3 years after the breakup, Peyton was in a coffee shop when he saw Ava. She was different, older of course, but it wasn't just that. She seemed tired. She had that look of someone who isn't happy with their own life. She saw him. She hesitated. She came over to his table. "Hi, Peyton." "Hi, Ava. How are you?" "Well, I guess so. And you?" "I'm great." She sat down uninvited. I saw your social media. I saw that you're doing well, that you've built something." "I built." Uncomfortable silence. "Peyton, I wanted to apologize for not supporting you, for laughing at your dreams, for calling you arrogant when all you wanted was to grow." Peyton took a deep breath. "Ava, you don't need to apologize. You were just living the life you wanted to live, and I was trying to force you to live mine. But you were right. I wasted those years. I'm still in the same place, same friends, same parties, same empty life. And what are you going to do about it?" She looked at him with that expression Peyton knew so well, that "save me" look. And for the first time, Peyton didn't feel the urge to save. "Ava, I've spent 5 years trying to inspire you to change, and you didn't want to, and that's okay. But I can't do that again. You need to want it for yourself, not for me, not for anyone, for you. But how? How do I start?" "Just like I started. You stop waiting for someone to save you, and you save yourself." Ava started to cry. "I don't know if I can." "So you're not ready, and when you are, you'll know." He stood up, paid for his coffee, and left. And I felt no guilt, because I had learned that giving gold coins to those who cannot appreciate them is not generosity. It's a waste. Chapter 9. The comment that went around. One day, Peyton received a message from an old friend. "Dude, everyone's saying you're being arrogant, that you think you're better than us, that you've forgotten where you came from." Peyton laughed, because years ago that message would have destroyed him. But now he understood. He replied, "I don't think I'm better than anyone. I've just become better than I was. If that bothers you, the problem isn't with me." The response came quickly. "You've changed, man, and not for the better." Peyton turned off his cell phone, because he had learned a simple truth. When you grow, the people who don't grow with you will call you arrogant, because your growth exposes their stagnation, and some people prefer to drag you back down rather than lift you up with them. Peyton had made the hardest choice of his life. He chose to grow up, even if it meant growing up alone. And he had no regrets. Years later, Peyton became a speaker. He taught about personal growth, business, and discipline, and always, someone would raise their hand and ask, "How do you deal with the guilt of leaving people behind?" Peyton smiled, because that was the question he understood best. "I didn't leave anyone behind. They chose to stay, and I respected that choice, but I couldn't sacrifice my own growth for their need for stagnation." There's a concept in psychology called codependency. It's when you define yourself by the act of saving others, when your self-esteem depends on being the savior, and that's dangerous, because you end up needing the people around you to continue needing you. I was codependent. I needed to be the guy who helped everyone because that made me feel important, needed, valuable. But Dr. Sarah taught me something. The greatest act of compassion is sometimes letting someone face the consequences of their own life, because that's the only way a person learns. And you know what I discovered? Some of those friends I left behind. Years later, they reached out to me, not to judge me, but to thank me, because seeing me grow was the inspiration they needed to begin their own journey. I didn't convince anyone with words. I inspired them with actions, and that was only possible because I stopped throwing gold coins to those who couldn't appreciate them. Chapter 10. The Truth About Limits. During one of the lectures, a woman raised her hand. "Peyton, I've been in a relationship for 8 years. My boyfriend doesn't want to grow up, doesn't want to study, doesn't want to build anything. But I love him. What do I do?" Peyton recognized that look. It was the same look he'd had years ago. You can love someone and still not be responsible for that person's life. Love doesn't mean self-annihilation. Love doesn't mean destroying yourself to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. There's a difference between supporting and carrying. Supporting means being beside someone. Carrying means being underneath them. And when you're underneath, you can't grow. You can only bear the weight. The question isn't, do you love him? The question is this love costing you who you could be? The woman started to cry. But what if I break up with him and he falls apart? Then he falls apart, and he learns, or he doesn't learn. But that's not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to himself. That was tough, but it was true. Because Peyton had learned the hard way, you can't save anyone, you can only save yourself. And sometimes, saving yourself means letting go of the hand of someone you love. Today, Peyton is 30 years old. He has built a 7-figure company. He travels the world giving lectures. He has a network of friends who grow up together, study together, build together. And do you know what he says when someone asks how he got there? I stopped trying to save those who didn't want to be saved, and I started saving myself. I learned that there are 3 Japanese concepts that changed my life. The first, Neko ni Koban, don't throw gold coins to those who can't appreciate them. The second, Ma, know when to back off, when to give space, when to let the other person deal with their own consequences. And the third, Mottainai, don't waste your vital energy on those who don't want to grow. These 3 philosophies taught me something that Western psychology calls healthy boundaries. But they're not just boundaries. They're acts of self-preservation. They're choices to prioritize your own growth. And here's the most important thing I've learned. When you stop wasting your energy trying to save those who don't want to be saved, you finally have the energy to build the life you've always wanted. You stop living in the need to be accepted, and you start living in the certainty of who you are. Now I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Is there someone in your life that you try to save every day? Someone you inspire, motivate, advise, but who never changes? Do you feel guilty for wanting to grow because the people around you don't want to grow with you? Have you ever given up on your dreams, your discipline, your potential in order to fit in, to be accepted, to avoid seeming arrogant? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're throwing gold coins to the cats, and you're destroying yourself in the process. And here's the truth. You are not responsible for anyone's life but your own. You can love someone, you can support someone, but you can't want more from that person's life than that person wants from it themselves. And when you finally understand this, when you finally set boundaries, when you finally choose to grow even if it means growing alone, you're going to be called arrogant. You will be judged. You will be criticized. You will lose people. But you'll gain something far more valuable, yourself. Because ultimately, the only person you can truly save is yourself. And that salvation begins when you stop wasting your gold coins on those who don't appreciate them. Neko ni Koban teaches you to recognize when your effort is being wasted. Ma teaches you to know when to step back, when to give space, when to let people deal with their own choices. And Mottainai teaches you not to waste your vital energy, your time, your life on those who don't value it. You don't need to be cruel, you don't need to abandon anyone. You just need to understand that protecting your energy isn't selfishness, it's wisdom. And sometimes the greatest compassion you can have for someone is to let them face the consequences of their own lives. Because that's the only way they learn. That's the only way they grow. And you need to grow. You deserve to grow. Even if that means growing alone at first. Because those who choose to grow attract others who are also growing. And then you no longer grow alone. You grow surrounded by people who value your golden coins. If you've ever been through this, if you've ever made the difficult choice to let go of someone's hand to save yourself, comment below. Because your story could be the inspiration someone here needs to take that first step. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to watch one of the ones appearing on your screen. I'm sure you can learn something valuable from it. I've especially chosen videos about healthy boundaries, personal growth, and how to build the life you deserve. Thank you very much for your attention and your time. This means you are truly committed to your growth. See you in the next video. And remember, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved, but you can save yourself, and that's all that matters.